All right, yo. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Compare higher time frame and lower time frame. How am I? We always want to because we find ourselves trading the smaller time frames because we're over trading or something, and then we're getting torn apart, and then we drift towards I gotta go with the higher time frames because the higher time frames are more steady. It makes sense to our brains, like yeah, it is more steady. Well, let's see if it's more steady. Let's see if it's more fluid in price movement. So let's go ahead and do that. How am I going to do that? Well, I'll show you. Right now, I have these increments on the screen here. We have the NASDAQ, and in the big increments like this, these dotted lines, the blue ones, are split up in 30 points. So 30 points from each other. Big chunks, right, of price. And then the pink is split up in 5 points. You can see it doesn't even go that far, but I'm just saying, imagine the market split up into these increments. The pink, which is the 5, and then the 30, which is the bigger chunks. And tell me, I want the market to tell me which increments move more fluid. How am I supposed to do that? Well, it shows that this drop right here, this drop went from this increment up here all the way down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has not retraced back. 6, and then 7, and then 8. 8, and then it finally retraced back. You see this wick right here. Boom, boom. So when it's more trendable, when it's moving in straight directions, that makes more fluidity. That's what I would call predictable. That's what I would call good trending and trading environment. So tell me if the higher time frame, tell me if the 30-point increments, the bigger movements, are more trendable. Do they go more in straight lines than the smaller time frames? You can see the smaller time frames can be, we can't even see it because this is a 15-minute bar. We can't even see inside these. So tell me the results. All right, here are the results. Let's do it. So what I did was I grabbed that, like I said in that beginning segment, the furthest it goes is 3R. That one on the screen was like 7R or something like that. Goes 0, that means it turns around right away. It chops. 4R, that means it goes up 4 times before 4 increments before it retraces. So I did a random calculation, then we'll do largest to smallest on the random. And I have so many trades. I have so many trades of last 6 months of data. So we're going to grab 1,000 results, actually. I hope the 30s have 1,000. I would assume so. But I know the 5s do. I know that. There's a lot of increments of 5. But we want the same denominator. Sorry, I'm just trying to get to 1,000. Here we go. 1,000 results. Let's bring it over here. 1,000 results right there. These are the 5s. Okay. And now we're going to go to 30s. I hope I have 1,000. Let's see it. Okay, 1,000 results. Let's see it. And these are completely random. It can happen at night. It can happen during the day. And I randomized both. Okay. So there is no bias. Here we go. These are the 30s. 30. And what I'm going to do is go for 3Rs. Well, let's just go and just see if it trends better. So you just do this. -1 is your R. Equals sum of this. And what do we get? Profit or loss? We get -17R. So what that means is if you trended the smaller time frames in these 1,000 trades, you'd be -17R, which is drastically break even. Oops. Drastically break even, my friend. And the 30s, you'd be up 30R. Okay. So what that means is it does move more in straight directions in the higher time frame, ever so slightly. If you look at 30R, I mean, that's really not that good. 0.03R per trade, is that right? What's 30 divided by 1,000? Unbelievably small. 0.03R per trade. That's nothing, right? That doesn't make money. But we can see that it's slightly better. Let's take an example of if you were going for 3Rs or something like that and you get out. Instead of just trailing every time, we're going to add to our position and trail our stop. So let's do that. What we would do is do if the result is greater than or equal to 3, you actually make 7R because you add 1 at 1 to a 2, and you exit your 4 contracts at 3. Otherwise, it's -1. Let's see the results on this one. Ooh, it's not even profitable. Wow. Oh my gosh, it's really bad for the 5s. Okay, so in this example of 1,000 trades, look at there's plenty of sample size here, and I'm completely unbiased. And we can test these results differently. You can say it's probably not the best way to do it. Tell me a better way to compare higher time frame to lower time frame other than segmenting it out. What I see on the 5s, it does get torn apart a little bit more than the 30s. So the common sense way of thinking about it, in this terms, it proves true, man. Not that much of a difference, but it does prove it, that the 5s can chop around. It can certainly do a lot of nonsense on the smaller 5-point increments, but it has less nonsense on the 30s, slightly less. That's what it shows me. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's probably different tests that we could do. I'm trying to think about it. Different trendable tests where if we can determine a trend, but it just gets complicated. I'm just thinking let's just split the market up, dice it up in small bits, dice it up in big bits. Do the big bits are more fluid? Yes. Big bits are slightly more fluid, just slightly, but it's really not crazy difference if you really look at it. 96, I mean, what is this? -0.1R per trade if you were trending on the 5s. So you'd get torn apart. -0.1R per trade, not much, but I mean, this is completely break even on the 30s. -0.008R per trade. It's on 100% break even. So, and then anticillary. What's that word? Whatever. It's a subsequent finding from this is that if you trail your stop and add to your position, just always, you're not going to be profitable. I don't care if it's the right choice. It's break even on the bigger time frame here, 30s. We can do even 100-point ranges. We can do huge trends. I'll do that next. But I'm just saying that you're doing the right thing. Well, you have to do the right thing at the right time. That's what trading is, I think. It's not just doing the right thing, which is adding your winner, trailing your stop, protecting your risk. And I think that's just one strategy. I'm not necessarily saying that's the right thing anyways anymore. I'm just saying it's probably better than doubling down on losers, because a lot of people have problems, and especially me in the past more so, but where I've had just problems doubling down on losers, I just double. So it's probably a better thing to do the opposite until we're experts in this, which I am not yet. But just saying, in conclusion, it does trend a little bit better on bigger time frames. We all knew it. All right, peace.